So, we're having our second debating games today, and we're going to debate on whether central bank digital currencies are a tool of financial freedom or neo-serfdom, or like neo-slavery. And just as last time, our audience is going to be voting after every single round to determine the opinion where we're shifting today. And by the way, if you want to join one of the teams, just become a part, member it, please, we invite you to do so. If you're willing not to just listen to debates, but engage in them, you can just grab a chair and just sit with any of the teams and engage in, oh, there we go. Yes, engage with, yes, like, don't be shy, like we're basically doing this for education to look at different themes from many perspectives. Yes. Just as yesterday, you will also find like a small papers and pens in front of here, and I also put some of them on the back part. You can take them. If you have any interesting ideas that you want to contribute to a team, you can do that easily. Just write it and just bring it to one of the tables. So today we have anti-CBDC team. That was yesterday a pro team, and today we have a pro team that was yesterday an anti team. Are you liking a member? Somewhere. Oh. So I think you should join the pro team then.
What?
The pro team. Goodbye, traitor. Okay, so we're starting the usual stuff. We're going to have 3 rounds, 3 theses with counter-arguments and counter-arguments. Now we're giving our teams 5 minutes to come up with the first theses for the first round. So in this time, you don't have to sit and concentrate. You can mingle, talk, go around, and in 5 minutes, we're going to be presenting the theses. Thank you. Very hard to determine right now. Will it be a beneficial thing to have a cryptocurrency backed by ordinary fiat currency held by a government? Well, it doesn't happen yet, but eventually I think one of the governments will do it. And today we're going to try to determine if it's beneficial or not. I usually say that the team who does the anti-side is the noble one because they're trying to, find various opinions, they try to disapprove some hypothesis. But as we are a crypto community, right, we're mostly negatively oriented at various governmentally owned structures and currencies. So in reality, today, our pro team is trying to defend governments, are trying to defend why we should have them. So let's respect the thesis that they're going to come up with. And stop. So, guys, yesterday we started with the pro team delivering the first thesis. So today we're starting with the anti team. They will deliver the first thesis in the first round. So please, anti team, present your first thesis.
Okay. As the anti team, our first thesis is very simple. Who wants the government to control your wallet? Who wants the government to know exactly how much you have, how much you've spent, where you spent it at, how often you spend, and all this data will be open to the government or to the banks. And we believe that although there are many merits in having digital currency, too much control.
Thank you, the anti-team. Now the pro team with their first thesis.
Okay, our thesis is that with CBDC, we can actually take part of the functions from the commercial banks and basically have more control as governments and as citizens of these governments. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for your thesis, pro team. Now, team have 3-4 minutes to come up with counter arguments to the theses that they just heard. Let's commence.
Let's hear a CBDC right here. You have the CBDC, and there's the government. If you just argument like a lot of questions.
And stop. All right. Now the pro team delivers the first counter argument.
So we learned from Shannon that they don't like governments having control. But anyway, governments, they have a lot of control and they have a lot of say-so in any commercial bank and any exchange and any wallet that you use. So they can freeze your accounts and they can freeze your exchange and they can see all the transactions that you made in any commercial bank. So CBDC won't... it's not like it's going to make a massive impact in changing that, and you can still have privacy if you, let's say, use cash as in today. But CBDC can also have like cryptographic privacy, like ZK proofs if needed. And we believe that it's also something that can put an end to corruption, to briberies, or, okay, let's not say put an end, but lower the amount of the things that happen in the world, like drug trade, human trafficking. They will be less and less every day with CBDC. This is what we believe. So yeah, corruption, bribery, human trafficking, drug trade, and all the illicit transactions that are happening all over the world.
Thank you, the pro team, for the first counter argument. Now the anti-team with the second counter argument.
Well, our counter-argument towards their argument is very simple. As we mentioned originally, the government will have full control, and we do not believe that it is good for the government to have control over everything. As they had mentioned, the banks will have less control. Good. The governments will have more control? Yes. Will people have more control? Nah, we do not believe so. You know, in any blockchain system, you are not anonymous, you are pseudonymous. But tied to the government, you are not even pseudonymous. Therefore, yes, although it may add protections against certain things, we do not believe that the people will actually be able to remain as free as they are now. Not saying that we have a lot of freedom now, but it will be even tighter and more controlled.
Okay, thank you, anti-team, for the counter arguments. Now teams have 3 minutes to come out with a refutes to the counter arguments. Let's commence.
We should ask him why is it Oh, you can only tell. Good, that's finished.
$50 seconds. up. All right. Now, the pro-CBDC team will start with the refute of the counter-argument. So please begin.
Okay. So, governments usually they work in the best interest of the population. That in an ideal world, this is how they should work, because this is why we, the population, we elect the governments for them to work in our best interest. Again, this is in an ideal world. Unfortunately, in real life scenarios, it doesn't always happen in the majority of the countries. But anyway, if CBDC is controlled by a government, they should work in the best interest of the population. Commercial banks, on the other hand, they work in their best own interest because they are money-making businesses and they make profits of our money. So as you've seen earlier in the lectures, fractional reserves allow them to make a lot of profit from very little money, basically. So if governments really want to work in the best interest of people, they can adopt like Humanode technology, and they can have like a Humanode-powered CBDC, one citizen, one vote. And if something goes, let's say, wrong inside that CBDC, they can also change it democratically by having one citizen, one vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, pro team. Now, anti-team with a refutal of the counter-argument.
Thank you. The counter-argument was talking about zero-knowledge proof and anti-terrorism and the end of bribes. Zero-knowledge proof would be nice, but we never know if the government will or will not implement it currently in the countries that are running experiments. Not really. Anti-terrorism, this is an excuse used for everything that wants to be implemented. I mean, wars are started by using the term anti-terrorism. In a more social way, in Japan, where I live, anti-terrorism was an excuse used to get away with trash cans in train stations and bus stops. And everybody was told that they had to carry their trash home. Everybody started to carry their trash home and started to throw away from home. Then the government said, people are throwing away too much trash, therefore we're going to charge you to throw away trash. And they found a way to lower the spending of tax by collecting the trash and getting the population to pay for throwing away the trash. All for the beautiful words of anti-terrorism. That's it, thank you.
Thank you very much, the anti-team. With this, the first round has finished. And now, I would like our guests to vote with me by raising their hand. Who is leaning more pro-CBDC? Can you raise your hand? Oh, yeah. Who is leaning more to anti-CBDC? Can you raise your hand? All right, thank you very much. The opinion has been received. Now we are moving on to the second round. The teams have 5 minutes to come up with theses for the second round. Our honorable guests can have some more coffee, smoke a cigarette, and we'll reconvene here in 5 minutes. Please, team, commence.
Yeah, like an example, like that it works. Yes, a simple example. That's what I wanted to say. Yes. Going from there, we don't know where we should go from there. We'll start with that.
But if government controls the drops, what do you mean that people
And stop. All right, we're now heading to the second round with the beginning thesis from the anti-CBDC team. Oh, no, the pro, yeah, I'm sorry. The pro team will deliver the second thesis of the game, pro-CBDC. So please.
All right.
So, seeing we lost the first round, I thought that we switched things up a little bit, and maybe we can get some votes. Let's imagine for a second that we're talking about fictional governments all the time, but let's say that we are a government right now. Like it's our first day on the job. So, we want to use these CBDCs, and one of the main things that we're looking towards is gaining trust of the people. So, what better way to gain trust of the people, but by doing something that works, that brings, makes our lives a bit better. So, one of the main projects that we've been thinking about is building a petting zoo where people can come and pet llamas and all kinds of animals, tigers, lions, bears. We're bringing families over. They can pay with CBDCs, and this is what we're doing first as our first motion of a government. So we're hoping through this that this will restore your faith in CBDCs and will make you see us for what we are and get your vote of confidence.
Thank you very much, pro-CBDC team, for your second thesis. Now the anti-CBDC will deliver their second thesis of the day.
Okay, so that was nice. I like his zoo thing. So for the second thesis, we want to say that we don't like the CBDCs, we hate them. And we like to say that how do you guys will resolve the problem of the exclusion by technology? Okay, so imagine that in the world there are places where there are no banks, there are no phones, there are a lot of people unbanked, and the access to the internet is like really low. And imagine if this is a problem, imagine how you will educate those people without the access to the technology itself. So this will be, thank you.
Oh, do I answer now?
I'm sorry, no, that's not how it's done. Now we have 3 minutes to come up with counter arguments for the theses delivered by both teams. Let's commence.
Slow process, like it's a existing with cash.
And stop. All right, guys, now presenting the counter arguments. The pro team begins, and the anti team begins this time.
Our counter argument is fairly simple. For those of you who were here yesterday and remember, we did a game concerning a mock DAO. In that game, there are roughly 20 votes concerning starting a petting zoo. And every single one of those votes were shot down until the very end when it was accepted as a meme. And it ended in disaster. So our first point is, do we really trust a government that feels the petting zoo is the answer to all problems? And the other point that we like to do, this was brilliantly brought by our team member, Andrew, says people are going to petting zoo, meaning they're craving touch. They want to touch something. Why use digital money when they can touch and feel the currency? Those who will want to go to petting zoo will also want to pet their money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Interesting counter argument. Very interesting. Yeah. Now, the pro team, please. Your counter argument.
Okay, so the argument against was about the exclusion by technology, about people who don't have phones or internet access. First of all, you can check out online in the Google, in the article by Sasha Shilina, that there are offline CBDCs. Okay, so you don't really need access at least for a few days, unless like until one person goes with the internet connection and sends all the data about the transactions. And secondly, the devices that are needed for this can be created incredibly cheap, and we can give them out to people and at the same time educate them. So it will be even better for our transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pro Team, for this counter argument. Now, team have 3 minutes to come up with refutals to the counter arguments. Let's commence.
Well, technically, you know, well, I can make it strong. You know, can I make it strong? So, well,
10 seconds. And stop. All right. Now for the last engagement of the second round, the Pro Team will begin with the refutal of the counter argument. So please, the anti-team, please commence.
Okay, so we think that it's a real big problem because it's hard to educate people offline. So how do you think it's possible physically to educate someone without the internet connection? Then elder people are scared about the technology, but the technology itself, imagine that how can we explain an elder person the use of these CBDCs and how they can use them? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the refutal. Now, the pro-CBDC team, please, your refutal of the counter argument.
Yes, so I think many people, including our anti-team here, they don't really get it that CBDCs can actually coexist with cash. Is something like CBDC plus cash equals love, and actually cash is, and it will probably be for a very long time, foreseeable at least, it will still be fundamental. So it will still be there in our lives, even though we're gonna see some digits on our screens or laptops, tablets, whatever. And we believe that actual CBDCs are and will be, well, will become, hopefully, more, well, okay, so they will be stronger than the banks now because the cash will actually be there. So you won't see the numbers that you see now in your banking app. You will actually see the cash that you're holding in your, let's say, CBDC app. Thank you.
Thank you very much, pro-CBDC team. With that, we conclude the second round, and now returning back to our guests, let's vote once again. So, who are you leaning more to the pro-CBDC side? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Who is leaning more to the anti-CBDC side? Everyone? All right. And now we delve into the last and the third round of today's debates. Teams have again 5 minutes to come up with the last thesis. So please, let's commence. Our honorable guests, you have 5 minutes to, relax, chat, smoke a cigarette, and we'll reconvene here in 5 minutes.
the inflation of dollars inflation, right? No matter how the only proof that you have is the USD ecosystem.
And stop. I'll let the teams settle down. Let the guests also settle down. Yes. So we're lacking one team member from the pro-CBDC team. If lead, I guess. But regardless, let's deliver the theses, starting with the pro team this time. So pro team, please deliver your first, the last season of the thesis of the game, please.
But I'm wondering, do we have everybody's attention, or we?
I am asking for everybody's attention for the last round.
Gentlemen.
You know, yeah, we have viewers online, so
Okay, so, you know, like, since you guys didn't like the petting zoo thingy, even though it was just an exercise in imagination, let's go back to one of those previous slides that we had. You know, like, let's say that your money is in a bank and the bank only is required to hold 10% of your money. So if many people, let's say thousands of people deposit money in a bank, and then at some point the bank lends it out, and then well, let's say everybody needs cash because they have some issue that they're trying to solve, so they're queuing up at the bank, but the bank doesn't really have the money because they lend it out, because they're only required to hold 10%. So then what happens, I mean, in this exercise of imagination, is that everybody's queuing at the bank and waiting to get their turn and waiting to get their money. Which this thing is not applicable in the case of CBDCs, at least the audited CBDCs, the CBDCs that have proof that for every dollar that has been exchanged into that coin, let's say Tether, right? Tether holds $96 billion, which can be verified by proof of reserves. So if everybody, let's say all the thousands of people that have exchanged their cash dollars for USDT, let's say they all go right now to get their money back. They can get it back right now because those reserves are there, like in their full entirety. So if it's up to me to think, okay, like we're discussing CBDCs versus traditional stuff. In order for a system to be better than another, well, you need to solve at least one problem. And for me, it's this is one problem that, you know, like CBDCs definitely have over the traditional banks. So there's your argument. So you should vote with us.
Thank you very much, pro team, for delivering the thesis. Now the anti-team will deliver theirs.
So, what I want to talk about is about some solutions, some alternative solutions to CBDC. Because CBDC is heavily centralized, it's in the name, thing which comes with all the benefits of centralized systems like corruption and potential to be hacked and everything. So the solution could be regulated, legal cryptocurrency exchanges all over the world, so the government could actually track down these terrorists and etc., drug dealers and stuff. And yet it will be decentralized, it will be a blockchain, which is governs by people, not by centralized governments. That's it.
Thank you very much, anti-CBDC team. Now team have 3 minutes to deliver the counter argument. Please commence. Okay, now the teams will deliver their counter arguments to the theses in the third round, starting with the anti-team. So please, anti-team, proceed with your counter argument.
Okay, the answer that I would like to give actually is from our brilliant mind, Sasha, who refuses to speak. Therefore, I'm going to give you the unintelligent version of what she was saying. Said, yes, there might be things that that CBDC is better than the current banking systems, but there's a whole slew of other issues that need to be addressed that have not been. Earlier in the debate it was mentioned, don't you understand that there will be digital currency and people can still use cash? Well, you got to realize that you'll be having emission from the digital currency and emission from the cash, and then an imbalance will come, which could potentially lead to quite the inflation. And not all problems are solved by having something centralized.
Thank you very much for the counter-argument, anti-team. Now the pro team will deliver their counter-argument.
Okay, the argument of the anti-team was that CBDCs are heavily centralized, and why don't we just use regulated and legal crypto exchanges all over the world with the currencies that they, well, have there, which basically means getting rid of the national currency. And this in turn means that, well, until there are still national currencies all over the world in some big economies, their currencies will be more stable, less volatile, most likely than crypto. And what we see in Argentina and El Salvador, people are just using US dollar. Eventually, this leads to the fact that you become a serf of another country by getting rid of your own currency. You're just accepting other countries' currency, which is not in the interest of your citizens 100%, but in the interest of another government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, pro team, for delivering the counter-argument. And now, for the final event of this game, the teams will take 3 minutes to deliver on refuttals for the counter-arguments. You have 3 minutes. Let's commence. And stop. Okay, and now for the final turn. We're going to deliver refuttals, starting with the pro-CBDC team. Please.
Okay, so first of all, it was an interesting counter-argument because it was not a counter-argument to our argument. But secondly, if we want to touch upon inflation, you have to keep in mind that given what we have right now, most of the inflation is coming from commercial banks. Most of the money supply is coming from commercial banks, while central banks, on the opposite, are talking every day and doing pretty much all they can. They don't have a lot of power in order to control and reduce inflation. So you're talking about chaos.
There's something strange going on.
Okay, you were talking about inflation as well. That's why I'm saying that. Okay, this is our counter-argument. At the same time, okay, if we're talking about cash and non-cash, we know exactly how much cash we have because we know how much cash we printed, right? And we can control the monetary supply just by CBDCs, leaving cash alone there. There is no chaos about it. Yes, there probably will be less cash. It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you, pro team. And now the anti-team will deliver the refutal.
And I'd like to continue with alternative solutions, which is better. If you want to support the national currency, you are not stopped at all from deploying a new stable coin with any currency of your choice. Just and we have, like for the CBDCs, we have an examples of how it's not working at all. But for the stable coins, we have an examples how it's is working, and it's working fine. So, yeah, I support national currencies, but not with CBDCs. Thank you.
All right, thank you, anti-CBDC team. And now, before the final vote, the teams have 1 minute to come up with a final statement. So please commence. Seconds. And stop. And now the teams will deliver the final statements, starting from the anti-CBDC team. Please commence.
As our stance does not change, it has been the same. We believe that government-controlled digital currency is not, CBDC is not our solution. There are countries currently in the world that are experimenting with it. I will not name the country, but I'm quite sure you can Google the news article very quickly. In this country, there are some anti-government protests. Those people who enter the anti-government protests are afraid of the facial recognition technology that the government is planted all over the place, so they cover their face with masks so that they will not be found. What happened? Well, they paid for the train ride. They paid for the subway using CBDC currency. And the government was able to track the people who were there by tracking the CBDC, and they came to arrest them later anyway. So yes, I guess the lesson learned is if CBDC is implemented here, and today there is something that we need to protest, we need to have a pro-CBDC member, such as Victor, pay for the bus. We can all go and protest with our faces hidden, and he can be arrested for paying for the bus to go to the for the riots. So.
Okay, thank you. Although that was a bit aggressive, so 1 penalty point for anti team.
Okay,
and now the
I
pro
wanna
team,
cover
please, will
everything.
deliver the final statement.
Okay, CBDC, a good CBDC, cannot be adopted in a non-democratic state. If CBDC is adopted in a democratic state, it's going to be much better than what we have right now because it will most likely use Humanode-like technology. It will be controlled directly by the citizens and not by some few signees from the government. It will help us basically stop the inflation and the increase of monetary supply happening thanks to our money-making private banking system. It will allow us to control the monetary supply, inflation. It will also allow us to introduce some privacy. And it will help us basically skip the layer of trust that we give to the banks and just be on the same level of trust as the current pure money supply is in the central bank. And last thing I wanted to say, usually when you go on the internet, you read only bad stuff about CBDCs. Usually, for some reason, you hear politicians saying, CBDCs are so bad. I will not accept CBDCs in my turn. But usually, the same politicians are making these decisions together with the bankers and together with all the people who currently control the monetary supply. Why? Because they don't want CBDCs. Think about it. Why we all hate CBDCs at this point of time if media is bought by the banks? Because banks don't want CBDCs, and we can make it right only if people control how CBDCs are launched and how they are managed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the pro team. And with this, our debates are finalized, but not without the final vote for our guests here today. So once again, guys, by the end of this debate, who of you is leaning, and I'm asking everybody there on the tribunes, the crew, everybody, who is leaning more to the anti-CBD side? Anti-CBDC. Who is leaning more to the pro-CBDC side? Oh. Oh.
No, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, that's democracy you get. And with this, our honorable guests and my honorable crew, the Humanode Conference is finished. Thank you very much for everybody who stayed until the end. I know listening to lectures and debates can be a little bit tedious, but hopefully we've all learned something new. Yeah, you want to stand up? You stand up. Okay, I'm standing here for an hour. So another, I want to give special thanks to the pro-CBDC side, because, we're all here crypto natives and we kind of don't like governments dealing in our financials. So let's give them a separate round of applause for trying to defend the government. Because they don't like CBDCs and they don't want to see them happening as well, right? They want to see decentralized. You're right. Yes. Also, I would like to give a special thanks to Oskai and the Cornell team for helping us organize everything. Guys, you did a tremendous job. Thank you so much. Yes, it was a perfect 2 days of the first in real life conference of Humanode. And with that, thank you very much and hope to see you guys next year.
Thank you all.